Microdosing psilocybin, taking subperceptual doses of psychedelic compounds just low enough to avoid seeing your cat morph into a philosopher, is no longer a fringe hobby for Silicon Valley biohackers. It's now the subject of serious scientific curiosity, particularly in the realm of long-term health, aging, and even cellular resilience. So while the world debates whether mushrooms can make you more creative or emotionally attuned, another quieter revolution is taking place beneath the surface, at the level of mitochondria, oxidative stress, and even telomere biology. That's right. The idea that teeny tiny doses of psilocybin could deliver not just mood lifts but longevity perks is gaining traction. Not because microdosing will turn you into a centenarian wizard overnight, but because it may act on some of the very mechanisms that keep your cells functioning well across time. And in a world obsessed with green smoothies, intermittent fasting, and N80+ precursors, the idea that your mushroom crumbs might actually be pulling cellular strings is kind of delicious. Let's start with energy metabolism. Psilocybin, in full doses, is known to stimulate serotonin 5-HT2A receptors, setting off a cascade of neuroplasticity and synaptic rewiring. But even in microdoses, think 1/10 of a typical trip. This serotonergic nudge may be enough to gently activate signaling pathways involved in mitochondrial performance. Preliminary rodent studies suggest that low-dose psychedelics may boost mitochondrial biogenesis and efficiency, meaning your cells could literally start producing more energy with less waste. That's like giving your body a more eco-friendly engine without needing a recall. If true, this would make microdosing a subtle metabolic hack for aging cells, especially in the brain and muscles, which tend to suffer the most from age-related energy decline. Now, let's talk oxidative stress. Aging is, in part, the story of your cells gradually losing their ability to mop up toxic byproducts of metabolism. Glutathione gets depleted. Reactive oxygen species, ROS, run wild. DNA takes hits. And before long, your cells are acting more like cranky retirees than the elegant little factories they once were. Microdosing may help regulate this through low-level activation of stress response pathways, essentially nudging your body into a gentle, get your act together mode without tipping into full-blown panic. Some researchers think psychedelics may function as hormetic agents, mild stressors that train your biology to bounce back stronger, like exercise or cold plunges, but way more fun and possibly easier to stick with. And then, there's the crown jewel of cellular aging, telomeres. These protective caps on the ends of chromosomes shorten with each cell division, and their length is often seen as a marker of biological age. Chronic inflammation, depression, and stress all accelerate telomere erosion. Think of it as biological fraying at the ends. Fascinatingly, some early studies have shown that regular microdosing may reduce biomarkers associated with systemic stress and chronic inflammation. And there's emerging speculation that through this pathway, modulating cortisol, enhancing sleep quality, and restoring emotional equilibrium, microdosing could indirectly help preserve telomere length. Granted, we're still in the could, might, and possibly phase of the scientific journey here. The double-blind, placebo-controlled, 10-year human trials haven't been done yet, though we're crossing our fingers someone's already microdosing their research team. But the theory makes sense. If microdosing supports better metabolic flexibility, lowers chronic stress, and reduces oxidative damage, then yes, it could slow down some of the cellular hallmarks of aging. What makes this trend even more intriguing is the psychobehavioral feedback loop. People who microdose often report improved mood, enhanced focus, better emotional regulation, and even more motivation to exercise and eat well. In other words, the practice itself may spark healthier habits that multiply its benefits. If you're waking up sharper, less anxious, and more in tune with your body, you're less likely to binge ice cream at midnight or skip that morning walk. So, is it the psilocybin itself that's protecting your mitochondria? Or the downstream lifestyle changes it subtly supports? Honestly, probably both. Of course, this isn't medical advice, and psilocybin is still a Schedule I substance in many places, though decriminalization is gaining steam. But with studies ramping up and anecdotal data pouring in from microdosing communities worldwide, the question is no longer if psychedelics affect our biology, it's how deeply and for how long. So whether you're a stressed-out executive, a middle-aged biohacker, or someone just trying not to turn into a human raisin before retirement, microdosing may offer a surprisingly holistic tool. Not a trip to another dimension, but a microscopic whisper to your cells that says, hey, stay young a little longer. And honestly, In a world of overhyped powders and overpriced pills, that might be the most down-to-earth approach to longevity we've seen yet.